Radhe Radhe, beautiful people. Hope you all are doing great. I'm also good. So, this is the second part of verse 32 to 35. Um, this is the continued part, and in this part, conclusion is included. So, watch my full video. If you like it, then comment it on my comment box. Also, my video, share it with other people, and subscribe to my channel. Let's start further. Arjuna continues his arguments to Krishna against the advisability of such a civil war between the two branches of the same royal family. A dharma hunting Arjuna is mentally manufacturing a case for himself, justifying his own cowardly retreat from his post of duty, where destiny has called upon him act to act. Repeats what he has said earlier because Krishna, with his pregnant silence, is criticizing Arjuna's attitude. The provocative smiling lips of the Lord is whipping Arjuna into a sense of shame. He wants the moral of his friend and the charioteer to come to a conclusion that what he is feeling in his own mind is acceptable and just. But the endorsement and the intellectual sanction are not forthcoming from either the looks of Krishna or from the Lord's words. Feeling that he had not expressed his case strongly enough to Krishna to make him come to his conclusion, and assuming that it was because of this that the Lord had not given him assent to it, Arjuna decided to declare with a much spirit of renunciation that he had so much large-heartedness in him that he would not kill his cousins even if they were to kill him. The climax came when Arjuna, with a quixotic aggregation, declared that he would not fight the war even if he were to win all the three worlds of the universe, much less so for the mere Hastinapur kinship. The name of Krishna is explained in the Santi Parva according to the legend of Krishna swinging back the earth. The origin of this name may be traced to this legend, writes Bhadrakar, but more probably Govinda is the later form of Govind, which in Rigveda is used as an epithet for Indra in the sense of the finder of cows. In spite of all that Arjuna said so far, Krishna is as silent as a sphinx, so Arjuna gives up his melodramatic expression and assumes a softer appealing tone and takes the attitude of explanation in vain, a serious matter to a dull-witted friend. The chance of strategy becomes conspicuously ludicrous when we notice Krishna's continued silence. He explains to Krishna that no good can arise out of killing the sons of Dhritarashtra. Still, the wooden smile of Krishna does not change, and the Pandavas' hero, in his shattered intelligence, tries to find cause for Krishna's attitude.